seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Can you hear me all right?
That's perfect now.
Right, I think it's Dell's headphones, mate. I think it's them that's making the scratching noise. That was one heck of a start.
Well, can we take a take two?
Try that again. Dell, say hello.
Aye,
that's all right. It's fine.
I need to get new headphones required, boys.
Right, Reegan, unmute yourself, mate, and you're ready to go. We'll try that again.
Okay, guys, sorry. It's a bit of a rocky start for the bus, but the bus is on track. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. I've got a star-studded lineup. Dale, Bhoycie, and Mark. Thank you for joining me, guys.
You're very welcome, mate.
All right, that was funny. That was funny. Monty's asking if someone's eating crisps in the bus. Is Chris Boyd on there?
The bus has crashed already. We've not started yet. But yeah, guys. So Blackburn 2, Celtic 2 at Celtic Park. Me and Dale and Mark were all at the game, and we met each other. It was good to see you guys at the game. And what did you think of the game, guys?
Take it away, Mark.
Oh, sorry, mate. Well, I was quite impressed with some elements of the game. I thought the intensity was there. Although the first 2 minutes I'll kind of forget about. I think we just get caught out a bit cold. You bit a slack pass that kind of bounced off of Callum McGregor's leg. No real blame for Callum McGregor. I think it was just one of those things. The defence hadn't really settled in yet, and 2 passes through, and the boys scored to make it 1-0. So I think overall the performance was encouraging. I think the only downside to yesterday's performance for me was the severe drop off in quality when our first 11 players came off the park. The second goal, I thought the wall was set up incorrectly. But again, the positive note, I thought Jota looks like he's back to his best self.
He does.
Really played really well. I thought Kyogo, with his pressing, was really good. At one point, he won a ball that he shouldn't have won off of their centre back, led to a dangerous attack, but nothing came of it. And All in all, it was a good exercise for the team. I'm not be disappointed in the scoreline. I like to win the matches, but you can't win them all, mate.
Dale, what were you? Have you got anything to say on the game yesterday?
I probably just kind of what Mark said. The intensity was brilliant, especially first half. Jota was absolutely outstanding. It just looked like the player he was on his prime last season. The flicker, the defender's head. I was sitting there
Amazing!
when he done it, and it was a joy to watch. And then obviously getting the highlight reel on the Bhoycie bus WhatsApp chat instantly after that. So keep them coming. That was brilliant yesterday. Being at the game and obviously not being able to get the replays and seeing stuff like that on at the game. But overall a very good performance. I would definitely agree with Mark in regards to the squad depth and the changes in the second half. You can definitely see that if we do get a couple, 2 or 3 injuries next year, then we possibly could struggle. So I think the likes of Bain and Mikey Johnson, possibly 3 or 4 others, need to go off the wage bill, whether it be loan signings or permanent deals, and bring in 2 or 3 quality players that are going to challenge guys like Hatate, O'Reilly, Kyogo, and guys like Starfelt and that at the back. We certainly need three, I think, quality players to come in. But overall, my take in yesterday in the full pre-season, I'm delighted with the way things have been going with the team, mate.
I want to ask you a question, Russell, because for me, I think that we sometimes we've got too many ball players in midfield, and I think sometimes we maybe need that little bit of steady Eddie in the midfield. Because see, for me yesterday, I thought Blackburn were a good team, but I thought in the second half they got through a midfield far too easily.
I agree with that. I think it was weird though, because see in the second half, see once you've made that many substitutions, the flow of the game's gone. You know, the whole vibe of the team. We're not going to see that when it's actually competitive fixtures. I actually thought at times, the midfield are one of these teams that we've got really nice on the eye players, Reegan, but sometimes Celtic's going to need to, I think, have an uglier side to them that I think maybe isn't in the manager's instincts to have. I don't think it really his style. It's not a criticism of him. There's, he's got his own, vibe on how he wants to play, and his own preference and personnel and types of players and profiles of players. But I just think sometimes Celtic will need to have a different aspect to their game, a different angle.
Because for me, David Turnbull, Matt O'Reilly, and Rio, they're all very similar types of players.
In terms of profile, yeah, I think on the ball they all bring different sort of boxes of tricks, respectively. But I do think, Reegan, you're right. I think in terms of their physicality, it's not there. Now, many people get offended for some reason now when you suggest bringing physicality into the Celtic team, and it's not, 19 canteen anymore and football's moved on. Well, I think if we try and go, toe-to-toe with a lot of the teams that we're playing in the Premier competition, Reegan, of club football, by the way, there is no higher level. That's what Celtic's going to be now. It's Champions League.
Yeah.
I think it would be remiss of us to think we'll be able to pass teams worth 300 million off the park with guys that were signing for £1 million, £2 million here and there. And I know football's not all about the transfer fee, and I don't want to get overly caught up in it.
No.
But we need to also be realistic as well. Sometimes there's other ways to win football matches, and I think Celtic right now need to maybe be looking at that toughness, that sort of streetwise sort of player in midfield to sort of complement, by the way, the quality that we've got. It's not a criticism of what we've got, it's to complement it. Sometimes, here's the ball, I'll go win it, I'll give you the ball, now you go do your thing, whether that be, as you say, Rio Hatate, David Turnbull, Callum McGregor. Maybe just sometimes someone else with a different sort of profile might be actually exactly what we need when we're going against what is, we've got to be honest, Reegan, world-class opposition. And we will be going against world-class opposition this season.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because
I think, sorry, Reegan, I'm just on Russell's point there, sorry, mate. I think it's a war of attrition. Champions League football is a war of attrition. Yep. It's about not just the players on the park, it's about how you're utilising these players. And it's the two you've touched on there. We've got a lot of ball players, but people do take offence when you mention bringing in somebody to break up the play. I mean, football, as much as it's changed, as to steal a phrase, it stays the same. You still need somebody to break up. Well, don't forget, if we get flair players, the opposition's got to them as well, and we need somebody to get in amongst that and split up. We've not got the same money as a PSG or Barcelona, but what we still have got is 11 men on the park who can influence the flow of a match, whether that's staying down for a wee extra 10 seconds, whether that's taking your time with throw-ins. It's not the tactics that we see when St Johnstone come to town, or the Hamilton Accies, or even the Hearts. Now, if we want to get to the next level, it's already been proven by teams in this city who are shooting well above their station that sometimes these wee dirty tactics, maybe these unconventional tactics need to be utilised. And I think Celtic would be as remiss as Bhoycie was saying there if they didn't look at every way of stopping the better teams play.
See, I want to ask you guys another question, and that's for me. I know the mainstream media was talking about Starfelt last season, like different phone-ins, different forms, but I just think it shows that Starfelt was a very big part, because for me yesterday, when Stephen Welsh and that Laxalt, the low, come on, for me, I think they're totally not as Starfelt's, not at Starfelt's level for me.
Oh, definitely, mate.
I know, mate. And listen, we don't particularly know Carter Vickers and Starfelt's true level either until we come up against a very, very good Champions League side as well. So that's to come. Whether people agree or not, I'm still quite worried about Starfelt coming up against a very, very quality number 9. I slaughtered them and gave him praise last year when he came good. I still see him as being very, very slow in the turn, which I think will possibly a thing he'll struggle in Europe. Good in the air, good on the ground. Still think he passes the ball a wee bit. I don't know what he's.
See, for me, though, I think the drop off from Starfelt to Stephen Welsh is far, far too big for me.
Yeah, I think the two of them have proven themselves. Welsh as well as very, very capable Scottish football players and the SPFL. The Betis games and stuff like that have shown us last year when we were losing 3 and 4 goals quite consistently that the step up is significant, going from playing Scotland to even the Europa and the Conference League, which showed last year. So I'm not worried. I'm excited about the Champions League, but there's a wee bit of scepticism in me as well. Just there's always going to be that worry, especially after our last stint with Brendan Rodgers when we get humiliated. There's no other way of saying it. We did get absolutely.
It's justifiable worry, but Dale, you're not just putting this out there, mate.
All that, but aye.
Yeah, because in terms of Siegrist, I thought Siegrist come on in the second half and done really well as well, guys.
Well, it's important that we've got this now. See, if I'm being completely honest, I've got a hunch, and it's again, this is not to be negative about Joe Hart or anything before people get themselves, their knickers in a twist. But I generally think that I think there's every chance Siegrist will be the number 1 at Celtic before the close of the season. I think he's signed a 4-year deal, mate. I think he's signed a 4-year deal for a reason. I think, to be honest with you, I think there'll be opportunities for him this year where he might come in, and if we're all looking at it without a bias prism, but just with an open mind, Siegrist might just fit Ange ball.
I think
for want of a better term, more than what Joe Hart does. I think, Dale, you've spoke about it, mate. I think you'd messaged the group chat yesterday after about 10 minutes with your concerns about Joe Hart and the ball playing. This isn't on Joe Hart, by the way. No. I think you were saying on post-match pish yesterday, at times I think Joe Hart's getting exposed because he's under instruction to play in a certain manner that you have to wonder whether that would have been. See, when you actually consider how Ange wants us to play, and I think there was an interesting stat. You were saying that he'd conceded in Japan the previous season 2 goals from the opposition's own half. Two times in one match. Now that tells you where Ange likes to have his goalkeeper playing. Now, whether we like it or not, Joe Hart was let go by Man City because he can't play that style of football. Right. I actually didn't want Joe Hart to look like a Diddy for something that's not actually all on him. I think Joe Hart at times is caught cold because he's not comfortable being the sweeper keeper. And I think maybe Seagrass will be signed with a view to, whilst it'd be very dramatic to take Joe Hart after winning a title and give him the number 1 jersey, I think as time might go on this season, that decision might be easier on the eye for Celtic fans to accept once we've got more of a body of evidence that Joe Hart maybe isn't suiting Ange Ball, and maybe he's actually been given a bit of rope here to hang himself. And I don't mean that dramatically, but I think right now you'll start seeing wee glimpses. Whereas if Angie's high intensity, high press, and sweeper keeper sort of football is going to be implemented, Joe Hart might look a wee bit exposed, and it might be actually easier for us, all of us on the pallet to see it being a Seagrass or another, if we were to bring in another, but someone else playing that role, because it might just be a wee bit unfair on Joe Hart to expect of him in the Champions League to be the modern day goalkeeper, where when he was at his peak of his powers, he wasn't fancied to do it then, let alone at 35.
Me and Mark spoke about it yesterday. You can see 100% that's what Celtic are working on in training. They're working on playing out for the back. And I think going into a Champions League group, our best chance of winning, depending on the group, is going to be playing football. But if we're under the kind of pressure for a Paris, a Bayern Munich, when we're playing the ball into Joe Hart and he's trying to do that, we will get absolutely murdered in Europe against top quality opposition. On the flip side of that, if Joe Hart's then playing long balls, that totally takes away from how Ange wants to play football.
Correct.
I don't agree that Seagrass comes in. I see Joe Hart being number 1 this season, but I also think if he does get a chance and he's playing well, Ange is the type of manager that leaves him in.
Absolutely.
Well, if yesterday was an audition, I think the guy did himself.
He did.
Harm.
He did really well.
When you see Scott Bain coming in pre-season matches, it almost feels like Dimitri Karian stepped in for an end of season match. It's like a total gesture. Yesterday seemed like he was thrown in against decent opposition, and Celtic Park gave him his debut, and he performed really well. There was 2 saves that he got down really well, and it was one of a 3-1 and I expected him to miss. I thought he's getting this, and the guy just pulled it wide, and that's the mark of a good goalkeeper. When normally you'd be expecting the net to rustle, and your confidence that the keeper's going to pull off a save or do something magical. And I totally. I mean, you asked. I was just in my head there. I was thinking, like, you were talking about a steady Eddie in the middle of the park, and well, it's no fair on Joe Hart that he had a wonky donkey like fucking Stephen Welsh in front of him yesterday either. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And that leaves you exposed. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's like walking up the stairs with a skirt on. You know what I mean? And that's going to leave you exposed to anybody that's looking. And Joe Hart, I mean, obviously he's absolutely been told how to play, and he knows long balls might reach the man. He might even get lucky and set a goal up one day, but it's not what he's been told to do in the training ground. It's adapt or die. And Bhoycie enjoyed that one, didn't he?
Oh my God.
Steady Eddie.
He's on fire today. He's on fire today. Oh, you're on fire, mate. You're on fire.
Oh,
I think with Giamakis now that we've not had that focal point number 9 for quite a few seasons. So I think the Champions League, if we are under pressure and Joe Hart's got the ball and it has to be long ball, that's probably our only get out of jail card. But with guys like Kyogo, Maeda, not a lot of height. It's a wee bit of a worry, and it's been evident the full of pre-season. It's been evident for the very, very first game in Austria. It was evident in the Australia game, and the same again yesterday. But as Bhoycie says, this is coming for the coaches. This is instructions to play out. I mean, he was passed the ball to Carter Vickers yesterday, and there was a Blackburn player 5 yards away from him in the 6-yard box, which is bizarre. But we'll see how it pans out throughout the season.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say one thing on Jota. I think it just showed yesterday that we've got such a bargain at £6 million for Jota, because I think he's an absolutely brilliant player.
Reegan, see, at the end of the day, £6 million. I keep banging this drum. £6 million isn't just a bargain, mate. It's utter pennies in the 2022 transfer world, right? See, even to a club like Benfica sell their good players upwards of £40 million on a, can I just say, on a regular basis, Reegan, right? So see, you look out, I remember David Luiz over a decade ago left him as a centre-back for 45 million to Chelsea, whatever it was. They've consistently sold footballers for real 2022 money. See, when they're losing a player like Jota or selling a player like Jota, whatever way you want to look at it, at £6 million, that sort of money doesn't touch the sides to even a Portuguese team, let alone the top 5 leagues, right? In the top 5 leagues, they must be looking at a guy like Jota. Even Blackburn, I look at them as an example, right? They've probably got a lot of players in their squad that they could sell of upwards of £10 million because they feature regularly in the Championship in England, right? Because that's now the market value, the retail price for guys in the Championship in England. They must be looking, right, at Jota yesterday and going, how much did they pay for him?
They must have been mesmerised.
Looking at their own scouting department and going, whoa, we need to raise our game here. Because I think, Reegan, Jota's a guy who puts bums on seats first and foremost. In fact, he gets bums off seats because you want to stand and applaud what he's doing. But he's also, nothing's just for the sake of it. There's a wee flash arrogance when he's doing it. But I also think a lot of the time he's proving points. I think he's putting doubts in his opposition players' minds. He's making them question themselves. I think there's a lot of... See if you compare him, and folk might not like it, right? But I will consistently look at our rivals, right? I'm going to consistently be looking at our rivals, right? Because it's what Celtic's done for the last decade, is looking in the rear view mirror when they weren't even in the same fucking league. So see when we've just lost a title 12 months ago, I am going to contrast and compare. And I think Ryan Kent, for me, is, to steal Mark's word, talking about skirts, I think he's all skirt and no knickers, right? I look at Jota. Jota provides numbers. He provides substance with the silk. And that is very important. And I think we've got a really exciting player on our hands, Reegan, that has committed his future to Glasgow Celtic. And I think we should be absolutely buzzing because not only is the fact he signed a new deal exciting, but he's also, mate, for the first time in his life, going to have a sustained, settled period being a first-team regular. That only bodes well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next talking point we're going to move on to, guys, is Judge.
Is that when doing like a lead balloon, Reegan?
No. Sorry,
Plenty.
I totally agree with your point, Bhoycie. I totally agree. I mean,
sorry,
I feel better now. I feel better now.
Get off your chest, mate. Get off your chest.
Sorry, Ross, I just thought we'd move on now. So I'm going to hand the show over to Mark because he's got a few points he wants to make.
Judge CAIRNEY.
Just ask
for the freeze to indulge me for a wee minute. I know it's 1 minute of me talking shite, but I'm just going to ask for you to indulge me. I was at yesterday's game, and well, I always do. Oh, of course, I was at yesterday's game as I normally do, and when I come home, I didn't go to the pie stands. I rarely do, to be honest with you. But I seen a lot of people posting pictures of the prices in the stands for the supporters. And first of all, just get something, just explain something very quickly. The reason for the odd prices, the odd numbers, is because of the VATs went up 2.5%. So your £9.99s or the days are over. They're going to be £10.20. I read that in the BBC. So that's why the prices are going to look strange now, because the 2.5% has been put onto the customer rather than the company. But anyway, so I'm going to go through a couple of prices here. I work in the catering industry, and I know exactly roughly what things cost and how much the markup is, and I don't mind. I hope Celtic make as much money as possible, but in the right manner and from the right people.
Yep.
So I'm going to go through a few prices here from yesterday's match, and then after that give you an example. I've actually looked on the internet and on the same suppliers these companies use, so it's an educated opinion on it here. So this is a wee rundown, right? A Scotch pie, from a supplier that I know Celtic use. 69 pence. One at Celtic Park yesterday was £3.13, roughly about a 500% markup. A portion of chips, 150 grams, roughly is a portion you would get. That works out about 16 pence to 18 pence, depending on what brand you buy, etc. £3.35 from Celtic. A portion of curry sauce, roughly about 35 to 50 mils, works out about 6 to 7 pence, and we were charging £1, £1.12. A chocolate bar, kids chocolate bar, £1.90, average from the same supplier, roughly about 57 pence. A soft drink from Postmix, Bhoycie will know about this from his bar days. Roughly, you get about 211, 210 glasses of juice from a £70 bag of Postmix drink. It's £3.13 for a £3.13, strange price for a soft drink at Celtic Park, and the price is between 30 and 35 pence a portion.
Yep.
This is the one that really annoyed me, because there's people that need to take tablets during the match, people that are dehydrated, people had a few drinks. £1.69 for a bottle of water. Now, I'm all for Celtic making money in the right places and from the right individuals, especially commercially. I don't think we do enough to sell the brand as much as we should, Sky deals, etc. But it's 2022 and we're in a recession for all but one a phrase. We've got a Brexit that's not hit us yet. We're still paying for the pandemic. There's families at food banks, electricity is going through the roof. Families are struggling to find the money to take their kids to the cinema, never mind to a football match.
Sure.
The football is about football, and Celtic in particular is about bringing in the next generation of fans. Now, how can a father or a mother or a family take 2 or 3 kids, and after they've spent £35 and £20 respectively on tickets, go in and spend another £30-40 on soft drinks and juices? Now, there's rules stated on your tickets about what you can and can't bring into the stadium. There's families really struggling just now, and this isn't a political broadcast for myself, but I think the club should really liaise
You've
with
got
the
my
fans.
vote, though.
No, but definitely, Bhoycie, and I think the fans, the board, the club itself should really liaise with the supporters groups or their usual wee platforms that they've been using, almost like the Emperor's new clothes, that nobody wants to tell the club the truth. But we'll stick to our principles. I think for a club to be expecting to make £400-500 profit, 400-500% profit on an item to its core group of fans, when it's a real struggle for people to put the lights on just now, I think it's absolutely distasteful.
I agree.
Absolutely disgusting. £70 for an adult tick and strip, and £50 for a kid's strip. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It stinks of greed. We see it in the English Premier League, and the fans hate it. Don't bring your shite to Scotland. We don't want our clubs fleecing the fans for every single penny we've got, because we will spend money we've not got to support the club. But there's only so many times you can go to this well. You're going to rinse this dry, and it's disgusting, the prices that I've seen yesterday.
There was so
That's
many.
all I
Well
say on
said,
that,
mate.
guys.
Not well said, mate. Well said. I think you're spot on.
Aye.
I
On you go, Reegan. I'll go after you, mate. No, on you go, mate.
I just wanted to see. I just think they're turning normal, average fans away from football. I just think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I was there yesterday, and I think I was one of the first people to post on Twitter about it. Totally agree with everything you said, mate. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. As you know, I'm doing my charity event for food banks this year, so it's something I feel quite strongly about.
Yep.
I was there with the wee man yesterday. Chips and a drink in the first half, 7 odd quid, and a pie and a drink in the second half, 7 odd quid. It's not a lot of money. I work. I've got money in my pocket. People haven't. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm disgusted with the club. I'm disgusted with the prices. Something I feel really, really strongly about, and something that's burning inside me that I'm possibly feeling that it's maybe something I'll take on myself and speak to other people and do what I need to do, whether it be demonstrations or writing an email to the board. I've thought about it kind of yesterday and at work last night, so it's something I might take upon myself to do something. It's an absolute disgrace.
Well done, Bhoycie. Well done,
Well,
mate.
Dale, you're not the only one, mate. You're not the only one. We've got Monty in the comments already saying thanks for highlighting it, Mark. The board will be hearing from me tomorrow. And I think that's good because we've got a slight responsibility. I don't try and exaggerate the podcast.
No, but they have, Bhoycie.
But I think at the end of the day, there's 84 people watching right now that are Celtic supporters, right? Maybe one or two of them aren't Celtic supporters, but that's fine. But let's say 80 out of 84 are Celtic fans. And, half of them might not have been at the game yesterday. Half of them might be now reconsidering whether they will go to a game this season. And again, as Mark is highlighting about a well goes dry. And that well will go dry. It's easy to say, oh, we're sold out when there's empty seats left, right and centre at the ground. They could be reselling that ticket like Terry was alluding to yesterday and coming up with innovative ways to make the ground fuller and make it an organic way the club generating money. See, instead, it's like they're punishing the few that went to the game yesterday, like Dale with his laddie. And Dale's laddie's going, I want chips. I could smell chips. Give me some chips and juice. £7-8 on top of your £20 for a ticket. It's just a bit naughty. And see, when you see prices, I'm glad you highlighted the fact about Matt. I've got a wee bit of a handle on what markup and all that shite is, and clearly you do as well with your catering background, right? And I get that, mate. See, when you start seeing prices like £3.16 or £3.13, they're actually kind of wavering it in your face what they're up to. And I think that's a wee bit silly. You don't need to have odd numbers in the pricing for that unless you are making sure to the penny you're getting this crazy markup that they've decided they need to make on every single item. And I think it's scandalous, man.
Other than the cost of living crisis and people being unable to buy stuff at football, as Reegan said, that the hot weather and all that, and not being allowed bottles and stuff in. The main point for me is it goes against every single fibre a Celtic Football Club and why you're fighting.
Now we're getting there.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Other than
for
people
food banks, boys.
We were founded to feed the poor, and that club is so far away from where we started. It's disgusting. It angers me. That's the first time yesterday. I've always been going to the games and going, oh, Dale, that's a fortune. Yesterday really, really, really pissed me off big time.
Well, Dale, I'm glad what we've learned, and I'll be honest with everyone who's watching right now. I've been trying for 2 months now, right, to get fan media access for our man at the top, right, Reegan, right? It's not my bag. I didn't want to kid on I'm ever going to be a journalist because, to be honest with you, I didn't get the prospect of meeting a footballer 10 years younger than me, right? Those days are long gone. It's not my thing. But I think for Reegan's journalism career, because that's what he's studying, it'd have been a wonderful option for him. Celtic shut the doors on the Bhoycie bus getting fan media access. Not us personally, but they've shut the doors. It's almost like they've got their group now, and that's what they want to stick. Now, my worry with that is that once you've got that access, can these other sites that maybe are financially dependent on their channel being busy and things? I'm not. I mean, I've got my own job, as do all you. So we're going to keep shining a torch on Celtic this season. We might actually just do it a wee bit more than what you'll see elsewhere. And the reason for that is because we can do it without any favour or favouritism from the club. There's no benefit to us not doing this. And I think it's really insightful when Mark, Dale, Reegan were at the game yesterday, and their takeaway for the game, excuse the pun, was that the pricing of the food and the drinks and the snacks is a scandal. That being your takeaway from it yesterday is shocking, because you shouldn't be feeling like that when you come out a pre-season friendly. I want you to be messaging in the group chat saying, how good was it to be back? There was almost a bitterness and a feeling of frustration that you've left there going, do you know what? As Dale just rightfully says, more than a club. More than a club.
No, it's more for the club, Bhoycie. It's more for the club.
Yeah,
that's what it is, mate.
And obviously people like the Celtic Foundation are raising funds for food bags and stuff, but it's not a good look for the club either, Dale,
No.
because the Celtic Foundation do so much good work, but then if you're charging £3.21 for a bag of white grams of chocolate, so what?
I know.
And the grab bag was £3.91, which
Aye.
included a bag of wine gums. That was your £3.91.
£3.91 for a bag of wine gums.
It's
I
probably
can't
rock
wait.
solid
I
lying
can't
there.
wait till my wine's not gone, so I can get my bottles of wine in my balls. I'm not buying fuck all again.
But see, the thing is, but they'll see on that.
Yep.
I mean, it's when I'm saying that, I think the club are charging the wrong people and putting the prices on the wrong people. But I still wouldn't mind paying £5 for a glass of lager. I wouldn't mind that because I know the VAT. But it's like, as you said, it goes against the ethos of the club. I feel like the club just now are getting further and further away from its roots, you know. And I don't think we all love the club. Well, no, I'm going to rephrase that. Everyone else loves the Celtic team. It's the club and the team can be indivisible. They can be separate entities for me. You know, I don't agree with everything the club do, but I want Celtic, the football team, to do as well as possible. I don't agree with a lot of decisions the Celtic make, and there's plenty of them that I don't stand by. You know, and so I can criticise the club. And as Bhoycie said, we don't need, we don't have access to the club, and it would have been good for Reegan, it would have been probably good for the channel. Well, no lie, but there's no way I'm going to be sitting thinking, I can't say that because don't forget, I'm meeting Michael Nicholson tomorrow to get my pencil case and my new rubber.
There's a benefit to it. There's a benefit to the fact that we've got a wee bit of clarity on it, right? I'll tell you that, guys, because it means we know where we are for the rest of this season, right? We're not going to be trying to curry favour for anyone at the club. So anything you hear from us isn't going to be for dramatic effect either. Dale's going to come on and tell his truth. Regan's going to host and ask, you know, the questions to Mark CAIRNEY every Sunday that you want honest answers to. You're going to get that. You're not going to have anything sacrificed because, well, you're right. I need to think of Regan's fan media access. We could lose that. And then I feel really guilty that we're going to lose it because we've went on a rant. No. We're going to tell the truth on this. And I think what we're seeing right now, some of the comments coming in are interesting because I think everyone's kind of on side here. But one of the comments that says you can't ask for £10 million players though and not expect the club to charge full price. We're not getting.
Bollocks.
Let me just tell you one thing. We're not getting £10 million players anyway. But we're sitting with a football club that have to publish their accounts. They've got an obligation to publish their accounts at certain times in the year, and when they do so, we are looking at a cash-rich football club. The football business is meant to provide what we see on the park. That is yours. I was saying this to you last week, Matt. Our cinema ticket, right, is you go to see a Hollywood blockbuster with Leonardo DiCaprio in it or whoever it may be, and that is you are paying for your popcorn, your hot dog, because what you're seeing on the screen has cost X amount, £100 million. Celtic are still paying the same amounts they were 20 years ago. Yeah, they expect 22 prices for footballers, and they certainly are charging, I don't know, 2042 prices for wing gums and things like that. Yeah, we are not seeing it on the football park. Dell is taking his son to see footballers signed for the same prices that when Dell was in his prime at 19 years old. Yep. That is the truth.
Yeah,
so
that is the truth.
We can't have it both ways.
Bhoycie, can I just say something different about that as well, about the catering, mate? See, Celtic actually, I'm pretty sure they use they outsource their catering. So see the actual catering side of it. It'll be in the hundreds of thousands of pounds profit, maybe small millions. It'll not be big. That'll not be how Celtic budget for their players. The players' budget will be brought in by season tickets, commercial avenue, and the TV rights.
Yeah.
How much money we make out of bumping people 500% profit out of a Scotch pie is absolutely fuck all to do with how many pounds Jota gets for scoring a hat trick. Yeah. Two of them are totally separate. So I appreciate that guy's comment, but it's absolutely not the case at all here.
See the big problem for me, right? I would happily pay £4 or £5 for a beer or an extra £2 for a chicken and chips, but because that's what you do when you go to like music venues. But see, if you're paying £4 for a pie, it's not that's not the way what you should be doing. Obviously, like Dell says, if you're buying a pint, you would expect to pay £5, but you're still getting the catering that you would get maybe back in the 90s or 2000s.
Other than the prices as well, it's absolute dog shite. It's stinking. The food's not even great quality.
Great's a strong word.
My Wayne got chips yesterday and he was doing all that, and I tried one and I'm going, your taste buds are fucked, wee man, because that's stinking. I don't know where they pull the chips out, it's just like under the till.
This
And
is it, mate.
there's 15
This is
chips
it.
in it, but
So
enough of
where's-
it.
Last
I'm going
season's.
to punch this web camera right off my
So-
computer.
But it's frustrating because see at the end of the day, see if you are going there and you are paying a premium and you're paying a premium amount, you expect a wee bit of quality back. This is
Definitely.
where it's taking the piss. This is where it's taking the
Aye.
piss. You're making no inroads, no attempt, no ambition whatsoever to improve the standard of the food.
Celtic
You're
fan,
just hammering the price tag. You're not actually providing any more quality, no more bang for your buck, if you will.
Celtic
Obviously,
fan,
they're not caring about the quality, because seeing you go to the toilets at Celtic Park, see you go to the toilets, it's like same as going to the toilets in a shopping centre or a pub. You expect hot water to wash your hands and hand towels to dry your hands. That is for me, that's a big issue for me. Celtic Park, they've only got cold water, and it's very rarely you've got hand towels. Within the first 10 minutes they're away, they've been used up. They don't get replenished. I mean, people wash especially a man's toilet. People washing their toilets, that's washing their hands after the toilet. It's so important. The bacteria on the doors, the bacteria on the handrails. Just you wonder people get ill after matches. It's like silly things like that. You know, like, I mean, why is there no cold water, hot water in the stands? I know it's a different topic, but it's almost the same, because they're kind of like forgetting they're doing just enough for the fans, but expecting over the odds in return.
but
And
I
I
mean,
just
I
think
mean,
it's absolutely revolting, mate.
A wee bit of padded toilet roll for the old arse, especially when you've had a bottle of tonic, you know what I mean?
And that's in the posh section, but Dale,
but
that's in Club Celtic. You get
You've got Buckfast on the mind today, Dale. I'm worried
Oh,
about
mate,
tonight already. I'm worried.
this is my last shift tonight, mate. I've not had bevy for 9 days and I'm off for 3 weeks, so
Oh,
tomorrow is going to be extremely messy.
oh,
So
I'm turning my phone off.
WhatsApp
I'm
pictures.
turning my phone off. Go on, Reegan.
yeah, I just totally agree with what Mark's saying. I mean, it's just like Celtic fans would pay more if it's good quality stuff, but it's not good quality. Like, you go to Transmit last week and you can get Chinese, you can get chippy, you can get anything you want.
Mhm.
If you're going to pay that extra money, you don't expect a pie for £4 or a Coke for £3. That's not what you expect.
That's the piss water. And as
Aye.
it's
The away end pies are nice, but I wonder how the toilet water is, eh?
And the other thing that
Standards, mate. Standards, mate. He probably paid €5 for a bottle of that piss too.
I mean, the other thing that I said to Mark on the phone as well is, see if you're a Blackburn fan coming up here and you go, I can't get a beer here, or I can't get proper nice food. Like, I just think that we're so far behind the football here with the catering side, because I just think that in terms of big clubs around Europe, they've got so much there for you.
Sure. Regan, I think it's something that the club are going to need to address. And right now, see until there is contact made by the likes of Dell, by the likes of Monty in the comments, and people can say, "Oh, you'll not change anything." Well, see unless you highlight these issues, you can guarantee there's no change. See if you actually highlight them, the chances are there probably won't be much change. But at least you've tried. And right now, see what's the club get away with it. They'll carry on doing it. See next season when you go in for your pre-season friendly, and by the way, the quality opposition, Blackburn Rovers, Championship fodder in England. You know what I mean? When was the last time they were even in the Premier League? It's hardly like Dell's sons going, Blackburn Rovers, I cannot wait.
No.
Again, you're looking at this going, what is the match day experience for a 10-year-old kid right now? Shitey pre-season opposition and priced out of actually even being able to enjoy chips. Dell's in a fortunate position he can afford to. How many parents went, sorry, mate, no, not today, when they're seeing those prices? It's a disgrace.
Aye, that'll happen, 100%.
It's a lot of money. You said it was £14, and to like see yourself and us all working, that's not a lot of money. But see if your £14 is a difference between putting dinner on the table. I'm not saying that a parent would make a choice to take their way to a Celtic match rather than go for a shop. But that's my point. when the financial situation is as dire as it is just now, there's going to be a wee bit of give and go.
Yeah,
I
I
think
You
you
got to
totally agree.
respect. You
Totally
got to
agree.
respect everybody's position. We're not all earning thousands of pounds a week. We're all just paying the bills. Most folks just paying the bills just now, and prices are going up, and everything's going up. In October, the prices are going to go back up in the electricity, and we're just bracing ourselves for the next big surprise for the government. And I mean, filling your car with petrol is like filling it with fucking gold. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, and I know the beaks at Celtic Park just see the financial figures, but there's no real concept. But what's the Celtic supporters liaison officer? He's maybe not had any contact for the fans yet, but he will. I feel he's going to receive it soon. I mean, what's he going to be saying when he turns up to the door at his boss's door and says, "Look, I've got maybe thousands of emails, hundreds of emails with folk that can't afford to make a decision between buying a pie inside Celtic Park and buying a bag of chips a mile down the road at a burger van, and their kids are hungry and they're maybe leaving themselves short that day."
And
Where does
see,
that leave? Where does that leave him? You know what I mean? He's in a position where he knows his boss is just going to say, "Pay it or don't pay it," and close the door on the way out.
See, especially because yesterday's game was so empty and it was free. Well, I don't get why the prices are so big. I mean, surely you're not telling me that we should pay £1.90 for a bottle of water and whatever else. It's
Reegan, it's wild, but as I say, I mean, right now the club are just looking at numbers. They're not no intention of improving whatever the product is that they're selling you. That just stagnates. That stays at this. You know, that pie is of the same level it was 15, 20 years ago. But what they are doing though is consistently looking at the RPI, the retail price index, and things like that, making sure they're up to date with all that bullshit, making sure they're all up to date with profit margins. Here, there, and everywhere, making sure if the cost of them to bring in stock goes up by X amount of percent, they're 100% matching that on the price that they sell it to the supporter, but the quality of the product doesn't improve. We can move on for it now, but I think we got quite a lot off our chest there, and respect to you for, you know, using at the game yesterday. And I think it is important this feedback's given, because this is us in pre-season, by the way. It's going to be a hell of a lot of cost to the average Joe Dale like yourself. You know, I don't mean you're average Joe Dale, you're above average.
and I think that's
It's going to be expensive when you go to the ground 20, 30 times a year.
Aye.
and I think that's part of the reason why some people are put off going to pre-season friendlies or things like that now. Because if you've got 4 kids and you're taking them to the game, it's so expensive.
Aye.
Very expensive. Very
Yeah.
expensive, mate.
Good point, Mark. That was good to bring that up, mate. I enjoyed that
Oh,
rediscussion.
no, thanks, Dale. I just thought I feel like Bhoycie is saying like, like we need to kind of like know our place a bit, but we have got a platform, Bhoycie, and I think we have got a wee bit of a obligation to say this shit, because there'll be folks sitting in their cars or whether they're listening to this today and saying, I feel the exact same way. I'm just glad these boys have brought this up. So I think we've got a bit of obligation for the hundreds or the thousand or two that may watch this show. You know what I mean?
Millions, mate, millions.
Well, the 500 million is around the world is going to watch this show. But whether it's 5 people or 500, we'll speak the truth.
That's undisclosed.
It's an undisclosed amount.
Yes,
There's an undisclosed significant amount of people watching right now.
Yes. Oh, that's a good way of putting it. You can tell that. You can tell that to Spotify when they're getting your next load of money, boys.
I mean, I think it's called a package. Is it that they call it a package?
Oh yes. See,
Yes.
between our audio listens and our viewers, it is an undisclosed significant amount of people that are part of that Bhoycie Bus package. So I can't actually disclose how many folk are watching, but put it this way, I'm loaded.
With add-ons, of course, there's add-ons as well, but Bhoycie, you know what I mean? But Bhoycie, was it you were saying yesterday with euros and pounds? Maybe something you might remember you were talking about that.
Oh, mate, it was. I can't even remember. Well, I was saying yesterday, it's very strange. I wonder. I didn't like to, you know, take over the chat. Reegan, I know this is now a talking point.
No, you
I've
Good point.
I've never seen so much media. This is mainstream Scottish talk sport, which is based in England, all talking about transfer fees yesterday, Dale, in euros. Why is everyone talking in euros? I've never ever known us to sell a footballer to a European side and has discussed the fee in euros. Yet we have a compliant media that are 100% following, I think, a narrative that comes for Rangers. This isn't a stab at Rangers, by the way. This isn't a stab. I actually think, see if Rangers have got the arrogance and the clout to tell the media, I want that fee reported in euros because it makes it sound bigger, and they do it. I think you've got to ask the question, firstly, how are the media so compliant in this? Why are they doing it? Secondly, are we going back to yesteryear where it might not be someone with the clout of a David Murray, but whoever it is in that Rangers board seems to have guys like, even Jim White. I mean, we should expect it for succulent lamb takers like him. But genuinely, you're looking at Talk Sports, Sky Sports, the lot, reporting transfer fees in euros. Del, never ever seen it in my life. I've got no obligation, by the way, no obligation.
I've never even noticed it, to be fair. I very, very rarely watch Sky Sports News and that now, but we live in Scotland, so I don't understand. In England, I don't understand. I wouldn't imagine there'll be a wee podcast now sitting in Romania going, that pie was 3.35 and no putting it in Romanian. Know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get it. I never actually knew about it, Bhoycie. I never knew about it.
Dale, it's quite obvious. This is a message. This is a narrative coming from one club, but they're dictating how that story. And it's, by the way, can I just say, I've never celebrated a Celtic player leaving like winning a trophy. They're celebrating like winning a trophy, which tells you deep down they obviously think they're maybe skint. But I rate the guy who's left them. I don't think you need to dress up his feet. I think it's brilliant business if you're selling for £18 million. Where this Euros thing comes from, though, I think you're alluding to, Mark, it's slightly deeper rooted. You're going, why are they talking about it in that currency?
It's to inflate it, Bhoycie, and it's to make the story more palatable for the Rangers fans. It almost produced this. Well, see, actually, the narrative is changed from the star player leaving to the best business that's been done in Scotland. That's the story that's been peddled today, right? And it's like it's almost sleight of hand. They've taken away the big story that the player's leaving and he's going to Ajax and they're going to be having to replace him with somebody for 400 grand to Preston North End or something. And they've turned it into this massive this business for Rangers. They've plucked a guy out through the ashes and he's risen like a phoenix. No, let's get the fucking facts of the matter is. This is the guy they were telling us last week was the best player in Europe last year. They said that with a straight face and some of them. But now he's gone. He's going to go. And I've managed to turn that into a good story.
I don't know.
I think he's a very good player, but
me too.
I'll put my head in the chopping board, and I don't think he does much more. I don't think he'll go to a bigger club in Ajax. I don't think he goes to a top 12 club in England. He's nowhere near the quality of the £25 million CAIRNEYs and guys like that have left us.
And with the sell-on clause, Dale,
a good level for him, but I don't think.
With the sell-on clause, see when we sell a player, the Scottish media are lining up. It's 12%, it's 15%, it's 14%, and they can't wait to tell you how much Celtic are going to lose on the transfer fee because of the sell-on clause from the previous club. Yeah. Now, Joe Aribo and Bhoycie are leaving for circa 25 million between the two of them. Although if you ask me,
€30 million, but Mark,
right? Of course, mate. Of course. But where's the sell-on clause of that 490 billion euros that you're talking about? But where's the sell-on clause, mate? Because you don't tell me a player's went for 200 grand as a total fee, and there's not been a sell-on clause, and clearly there has been, and I don't really give a shit, right? I don't really care, but it's the inconsistency in the reporting, because I guarantee you, it could be 2 million of that money's away to Leicester, or maybe £3 million away that money's away to Leicester. It'll be 10-15%. I couldn't give a flying shit, but don't sit there and give this one negative story about Celtic selling a player and turning how much money they're going to lose and sucking the life out of any good vibes about it. At
the same time as we're getting, everyone's getting themselves all excited and getting giddy about, Bhoycie's billions, right? They're literally reporting Celtic face cash windfall nightmare as Dembele might leave for free for Lyon to Man United. We signed the guy. signed a guy for 400 grand, sold him for 19.7 million. But how's that ever in any scope going to be a cash windfall nightmare? That's brilliant.
They've done it for so long that it's water off a duck's back. It still annoys you. I mean, it still really annoys you that wee bit. I don't read any of the rags. I'm not even mentioning any of their names on the podcast, especially the Scouse one. But it's just by the by with these absolute tabloid fucking morons that they just make stuff up. And I would imagine the tribute act in Govan will probably feel exactly the same about some of the stories as well. But absolute trash.
But they cherry pick, they cherry pick what they're offended by.
Absolute trash journalists. That's the way I
See,
feel.
for me, right?
You're right, Dale. You're absolutely spot
on, mate.
See, for me, people are saying that Bossie's the best player in Scottish football last season. I don't remember him being that good. Everybody's saying, "Oh, he's been the best player in Scottish football the last 2 years."
He was fun his ass.
I've not seen him.
I genuinely could they say a good game he had. Not that I watched them, but
he's been.
The only time I saw him was when he was spinning around in circles when Callum McGregor wasn't by him.
But I mean, I just don't get it because obviously he played well in the when Rangers done well in the Europa League, but I don't remember having outstanding games in Scotland to go, wow, this guy's going to be amazing.
Good luck to him, but I mean, good luck to him. I moved to Ajax.
His granny Shirley's releasing a new single for the time.
Like Shirley Bassey.
Right, Reegan, get this bus back on the road, mate. Enough of talking about those Muppets, mate. Enough of that.
So after the game yesterday, Ange Postecoglou said he's close to buying 2 new players. What positions in the team do we think that Ange will be trying to strengthen? Because for me, I think it'll be centre half and possibly midfield and possibly striker.
Aye, I'm with you, mate. I agree with that.
Aye, I think it's exciting, Dale. See, when Ange doesn't say things for copy. You know, he doesn't say it for that'll maybe get a few headlines and my name in the papers. He's not like that. When Ange tells you there's 2 players he expects to be signed in the next 7 days that they are close to completing already, us as a Celtic fan, you take that at face value and you take it seriously. He's not one to try and. In fact, he plays everything down almost, Ange. You know, he's got a very level head about him. So I would be extremely, I am extremely, and I would recommend everyone else be extremely excited when a man of that sort of measurement in his views and opinion says something like Celtic's got 2 players to be signed. It almost tells you there's his mask slipped a wee bit, Ange. I think there was excitement for him in saying that, Dale. I think that's a manager who's going, I'm quite excited about what's coming here. And 2 new players is exactly what we need.
Aye, I would agree. If it is only going to be the 2, what Reegan said, a centre back and a midfielder's the 2 I would go with strengthening. I think when you look at last season and obviously the injury problems Kyogo and Giakoumakis had, then you would probably say as a number 9, then something we look at with Giakoumakis out yesterday, but we're hearing that there's family stuff. He's no injured or anything like that. So, if I had the choice out of the 3, I would take the centre back and the midfielder, certainly.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think it would be neglect in the part of the playing staff's department, if they don't look at the areas in which we need strengthening in. I mean, I know I joked earlier on about Welsh, but I mean serious. I mean, we can't rely on that level of drop-off. The quality is ridiculous from the drop-off. And also, I mean, I touched on this in last week's show. We need starting 11 players. We need oven-ready players. We can't be getting a European campaign or a domestic title defence with the same 11. We might get through matches and all the rest of it, but what we've found with this high intensity training is injuries are picked up very, very often, and we're going to need to cover the areas in the park with like for like quality. I know that's a really tough task for our budget, but it's not an impossible task, and we have got a budget. We'll probably get more cash at our disposal just now than we've ever had in our history. We had to report to the London Stock Exchange 2 weeks ago. We had to alert our shareholders that we've made more money than projected. That was an alert they sent out to the stock exchange. Now, this isn't us making this up. This is facts. So that tells you there's a lot more money in the bank than what they're expecting. £40 million, as they told us, or roughly £40 million, as they've told us previously, they see that as a bonus figure. They would be quite idiotic to project they're going to win the league every year. So they have to budget for the minimum amount of money, and then in stages after it. And the absolute jackpot for them was the Champions League.
Sure.
And they've got that. I almost think the club would rather have 2 qualifiers and a Champions League so they can get the money for the gates. But that's another story. But they're in it. I mean, I think you know, the Bhoycie, see if you offered Celtic if you offered the CEO a 60-40 chance of qualifying, but you have to play 2 qualifiers, they'd gamble on that.
Aye.
They'd gamble on that.
You're
Their
right,
eyes would light up.
You're a clever bastard at times, Mark. I swear to God, you're right, mate. I agree with that. I think you're right.
I think so, mate. I think they would see that.
See, in terms of strengthening the squad, I think it's also important that we take some players off the wage bill, like Mikey Johnson, Julian, because for me, I don't see a future for both of them.
Well, Reegan, the thing is, right? See, at the end of the day, we're conditioned now as Celtic fans, right, to think that money is really tight, too tight to mention. Yet the facts are, right, whether we like it or not, Celtic's revenue in the last few years has been astonishing, particularly during the pandemic. All right, we sold, I think people forget, Jeremy Frimpong, another £400,000 bag for 11 million plus, I don't know, 85 million in add-ons, I think it is, and a 150% percentage selling clause. But we sold a guy with 1 year left in his deal in Edward for 18 million. We sold Aya with 1 year left in his deal for 13 million. We already know right? There's no hiding place for me on this deal, right? I'll tell you why. We know what the Champions League brings in. We all know it, right? We all know the numbers are out there. It's public knowledge. So, yes, I think there's a benefit to saving £20,000-25,000 a week on Julian. But, Reegan, it's not a necessity, and it is not needed to finance 2 new players. I like what Terry Robb said. I'll go back to the week. He went, I want 1 or 2 players to come in that are going to be challenging that first team. Reegan, that does not need to be dependent on players exiting the club. On you go, Dale. Sorry, mate.
The thing with the centre back, me and Mark touched on actually just leaving Parkhead yesterday. If we don't bring in another centre back, I'm certainly more comfortable with a Christopher Julian sitting in the bench than a Law or a Welsh in a Champions League group.
Absolutely.
He's got the experience. I know we've spoke about it at length, and I won't go back into it. I love in here and all that. Listen, he's a good player. If we don't find a centre back, I would rather he was there than Stephen Welsh. That's possibly a bit harsh. I think Stephen Welsh could be at the club for the next 10 years.
He probably could,
magic the way he did with Ralston, but I would
Well,
certainly
I hope
be.
no.
We're going to lose Julian for nothing. If we lose him in January, it'll be absolute pennies. So why not keep him in the squad to the end of the season?
Del, am I mistaken here, right? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Did Celtic not trigger the extension for another year for Julian this summer? So the reason, because
no,
that was going to be that was dependent on the same as Carter Vickers with Spurs.
I'm sure Julian took another. I'm sure they triggered an option, mate. I'm positive they did.
I think that was happening when he signed, though, Bhoycie.
No, he signed. No, he signed with the option.
Has he signed already?
I think Julian joined us on a 3-year deal with the option of a 4th. So he could have left on a freebie at the start of this summer. Celtic triggered it, trying to get £1 million to £2 million for him. Told him he's been sold. He then goes to Germany, to Schalke. The deal doesn't come off.
So that is the extension.
So he's like, now I've got this extra year here and folk can come a want-away player. I think he's getting hung out to dry a wee bit.
He is a wee bit. But yesterday, Mark came down and sat with me at half-time, but the one thing I did notice yesterday, I don't know if you noticed it, Reegan, at half-time, there was 2 different squads of Celtic substitutions. I think there was a group of 6 and a group of 5 warming up at half-time. Chris Julian was near not one of them. He was at the side of the park at the dugout. He done a couple of wee jogs. He never interacted with one single player.
Wow.
He never went close enough to the fans to have any sort of wave or interaction. And then when the teams come out, he was straight back into the bench. As much as I think I don't see massive value in selling him, could the wage bill be good to go off? I think if we don't sign a centre back, he's still got the quality enough that we will possibly need going into Champions League and an injury.
Totally agree with you, Dale.
So
totally
Dale, see you talking about saying he's nowhere near the squad, talking to him or training with him. Do you think that in terms of he's not putting himself to be part of the squad could possibly be a problem for the season? Maybe?
Listen. What we do is look for the outside in and surmise, but if we never, we would have fuck all to talk about. So
it's a good point, mate. I mean,
we don't have loads of inside information. We watch 90 minutes of football and we analyse it and give opinions, whether it's well or shite. I think Julian's body language just doesn't look great. I don't know what he's like as a person.
But Dale, would your body language be good if you're getting told you're surplus to requirements? You're then getting triggers on your contract being extended for a year.
Yeah.
You're then flying out to Germany and going, I never even signed up for this, and they couldn't even afford the terms. And then you're getting thrown back into the team.
I think
he got a good reception yesterday, Bhoycie. He got a good reception when he came on.
Good. It's a high-profile signing. They paid a lot of money for him. He's in a lot of wages. So he should give the club the fucking respect it deserves in that sense.
Fair.
Yes, you can understand as a professional football player, he's going to be annoyed. He's not getting game time. There's 21, 22-year-olds getting in front of him. But us fans, again, are paying for him to train hard and have an attitude that deserves Celtic Football Club. So buck up his fucking ideas. That's the way I look at it.
That's what I was just going to ask, right?
Fair dues, mate.
So obviously Starfelt was out yesterday and Ange chose Stephen Welsh. Do you think that's a wee bit of a ploy as well?
It speaks volumes, mate. I think, as Dale said, we only see the outside, but see when they're making public decisions, there's more to it than just decisions. There's more to it, you know. It's not just for copies, to steal Bhoycie's phrase, but that's what I noticed yesterday when Bhoycie was talking about Julian. That felt like a concerted effort to distance himself from the squad and the team, and it was either a show of distaste or whatever it was. Maybe he knew he was going on the second half, and he's probably just been told 5 minutes ago. He's still only a man. People were going to respect him, going to react in the way that they normally do, and he's not always thinking about how much money he's on and all the rest of it. So he's maybe going to be acting just the way a man would be, and sulk a wee bit, you know. But I think he's going to play a bigger role than what he's expected this season. I think he's going to start the season. I just hope to God that Starfelt comes back in time, because even if fully fit Julian, I don't think gets in front of him just now. We are severely lacking in that position. I think central defensive midfield is, and there was spells. I said to Dale during the match, there were spells and we were just so far apart from each other. There was big voids in the pitch, and midfield were looking invisible, and your players can't be too far apart from each other. That's when gaps start to create, and that's when players start to come out of position. People start covering each other. There's Shane Duffy moments where they're turning around and wondering who's picking this man up, who's picking that man up. And, you know, I don't think when the game's analysed, I don't think Angel will be as content with the performance as what he made it on the media, and that's just fair. He's not going to criticise him too much. It's only a friendly match. But a friendly match is almost like an audition. It's almost like they're even an audition. It's like a warm-up for the big event, you know, and this is when you start ironing out creases. This is when you start to get new systems implemented, new players bedded in. Speaking of new players, Bernabé showed a couple of tricks yesterday, but as I said yesterday, he's pretty raw, and I still don't think that's on today's viewing. I don't think it's an upgrade on Taylor just yet. So I think we might see Taylor, like Julian, start a few matches. So at the very least, Bernabé's up and running, and he's used to the Scottish game and used to this setup.
You're a bit You're about 6 inches bigger than Mark, and you were only up to my waist yesterday.
That's good, Pat. That is good, Pat. Because we did let folk know that. Reegan, you all met up yesterday, didn't you?
We did.
I was
aye.
sitting
Yeah.
I was feeling jealous. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, you know that way, like nose pressed up against the window. I felt like I was missing out, man. I loved the photo of yous all together. It was class.
Aye.
Aye, it was good meeting.
Aye,
them.
it's
No, it was good meeting everybody.
good to see everybody, so it was.
And
Brilliant.
Aye.
it was good to see Alfred as well, who speaks on the show as well, because he met me at the bus stop on the way home as well. So
I heard that Alfred was wearing a certain T-shirt as well, Reegan, wasn't he?
it
Nah.
was. It was so good to see people wearing the Bhoycie bus t-shirts and the Celtic Park Bhoycie.
Unbelievable, eh? It's literally mental. Like you'll
Aye.
never get your head round that. You know what I mean? You never get your head round that. I certainly
As
won't
I said to
anyway.
you before, Bhoycie, it must be like when a singer hears the crowd sing his song.
Aye.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Aye, like because obviously Alfred didn't know he's meeting Reegan yesterday, so it's not like he's wearing it on purpose. Bump into each other, he unzips the T-shirt, it says "Don't back down, double down." Stuff like
Aye.
that.
I heard
That's
they're all
class, mate, aye.
chasing. They're all chasing Paddy Pimblett about in Liverpool, shouting Bhoycie. Oh, sorry, run, guy.
Aye, wait. Last time I was in Glasgow, honestly, like I was like, "Hey, this channel's doing all right." By the way, folk keep pointing and looking at me and coming over and going, "You all right, mate?" And I went, "This channel must be doing all right." Then I realised that Roger's going, "He looks like Paddy the Baddy." Him. That was the Aye.
You got a very distinct look, mate. You're well branded, Bhoycie. You've been trying to brand yourself for 29 years. You've just started
Aye.
today, mate.
29 years, mate. Aye, you're being kind to me today, mate. Aye,
No, your first 5, I just learned how to walk. After that, you were trying to brand yourself, mate.
Brilliant, lads.
So, guys, I wanted to move on to the Celtic 5, the Jam Tarts 0, and that was the game that Scott Sinclair played up front when Dembele was injured, and Celtic won the first title under Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, at Tynecastle.
Yes,
Aye. I've got it
Aye,
on
that
my
was an
notes.
amazing game, and that actually typified Scott Sinclair's season. That was just a marvellous performance. There was one goal where he was down the left-hand side and he cut inside and he just rattled it, and I can still hear the net crashing with the ball.
See that goal for?
It was amazing.
See that fourth goal for Paddy Roberts?
Paddy Roberts.
Paddy Roberts,
Yeah.
unbelievable, wasn't it? Unbelievable.
I think
Paddy
that's going
Roberts
to
is
be one
going to
of
be
the
one of
best
the
debut seasons a player's had in my time watching Celtic.
Scott
Scott
Sinclair.
Sinclair was fucking phenomenal that game.
Outstanding.
Phenomenal.
I think you look at the impact that he had, and you realise he was a complete confidence player, Scott Sinclair. See, it was see what happened at Celtic was no random event that he ended up falling off a cliff after a couple of years. If you actually look at his career, he's one of those folk, he makes instant impact because he feels the love and he's got a clean slate, a fresh start. He seems to thrive in that, and then he goes stale and his performances dip. Everybody's been. It wasn't just at Celtic that happened. I think so. The other thing is, when you talk about Roberts there, Reegan, he's another player that will confuse, I think, Celtic fans time and time again. That he seems to have found home at a club, similar sort of passionate fan base, similar
Sunderland.
sort of numbers at Sunderland, but a lower level. And you wonder what the benefit and what the gain is for him to have not seen Celtic as his long-term future, because I think genuinely he'd met a marriage there that would have benefited Patrick Roberts, and probably by this point led to him to have had a move to the English Premier League as a first team player. I think that sign doesn't add up there with me with Patrick Roberts. I think there was all the potential there for that to have worked.
See, I think
dancing, man.
See, I think
dancing. I'm glad he's not anywhere near the club, to be honest with you.
Aye.
There you go.
Do you like him, Dela? I thought he was.
Aye, I
thought he was.
I did really
thought
enjoy him while he was there. Bhoycie was saying earlier about Jota. He got bums off seats, but he said something like, is it 10 or 11 clubs?
It's wild.
40 grand.
I think he's just looking for a home, though, isn't he? I think he's looking for
Mental.
somebody
I think
to take him
sometimes
in.
it's see when a player does well at Celtic or Rangers and then they do well and they think I think sometimes they go above their station to think they're too good and they are probably.
I agree with
It's
Bhoycie, but I think it was an absolute perfect fit for Celtic. But
Aye.
he was in 40 grand a week at Man City. I don't think Celtic would have been willing to give him that money. He also
No.
wasn't willing to walk away for 40 grand a week. Hence the reason he went to Girona. He's went to so many championship clubs.
Troy's,
He's made money and he's probably found his level now.
which is
Aye.
a damning indictment, no Dale, because at 25, 26 years old right now, I think it could have been also different for him. I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Maybe being a big fish in the English Championship or at the League One level, obviously, where he played the last 5 months. I'm sure Sunderland got promoted this year. I think that's ridiculous. That's ended up being, maybe as you say, finding his level. This could have been also different had he maybe just parked the money, parked all the cockiness, the arrogance, whatever it may have been, whatever ideas of grandeur that he had, he should have parked it and remembered that Celtic comes around once for most people. He got 2 loan spells at Celtic, and then I think there was options to have been made permanent, and he, I think, chose not to do so. I think that'll be a decision he's got to now obviously live with, and it's his gift to decide whether he wants to stay at Celtic or not. You would have to now argue, though, as Dale says, when you've played at 10, 11 clubs, and we're not talking about world beaters here, and he couldn't barely get a game at any of them, you have to ask yourself, sliding doors moments, would he been better signing permanently at Celtic? I think Celtic haven't missed out as much as Paddy Roberts has missed out.
And then obviously Ange said he got offered him last year, so maybe maybe Ange said, right, this guy's been here and he's done okay, but he's still not wanting to sign here permanently.
Yeah.
I think the club played a role in that decision as well. I think because he still maybe had 2-3 years left in his Man City deal. So I think the club maybe played a bigger part in. I'm not saying a bigger part, but would the Celtic have went to the levels of 6, 7, 8 million pound for him? I don't think they would have.
No.
I don't think Man City would have been as difficult to deal with, Mark, as you think. There's loads of links and connections between the clubs. I think.
Definitely.
I think that Celtic would have been able to negotiate a deal that was affordable for us. I think Celtic would have been keen to do it. I think generally the player has decided, oh no, I've still got a chance. I don't know what sweet nothings he was getting in his ear for whoever it is, the hierarchy at Man City, that somehow he was going to break into that setup. But from the obsidiary eye on looking for the outside, and that's all we can do, as Dale says, you can't help it. You can't help but think there's no danger he's getting in that Man City team anytime soon. What are you getting told? But it's an interesting talking point. You look at Scott Sinclair coming at his peak years. Paddy Robertson, his youth, is going out the way. Scott Sinclair at his peak's coming into Celtic Park, and you wonder if he must have been in Paddy Roberts' ear as well, going, I've been at City, mate. I know how difficult and frustrating it can be, but you will always be on the outside looking in there. This is me at my peak years. I'm playing them in Scotland at Celtic, and I can't tell you enough how amazing this is. Don't underestimate what you've got. We'll never know.
Money.
Yeah.
Aye.
See, I just want to ask you guys about Celtic. I mean, obviously the Manchester City thing is brilliant, but do you think that that now we should try and pick up different scouting networks? Because I did see someone say last night, I wonder who do Dan's going to pick us up this year, because I think Andrew's close on 2 players, so yeah, it's just going to be interesting.
I'm going to be surprised if Dudu Dan's all over that.
One thing I will say though to you is, for me, the impression I get for Ange Postecoglou is he'll not be concerned if his next 10 signings have been recommended by Dudu Dahan or he's the agent, because Ange will make his decision based on whether the guy is the right fit for his team and the right person, which he continually reminds us that he signs people, not just players. See if the next 10 in a row are by Dudu Dahan and he's the agency representing, it'll not be because at any point Ange has been held to ransom by Dudu Dahan's agency. It'll be because Ange has went, okay, we meet again, mate, but you're still the right fit for me. I'm quite confident of that now.
Right. I think the scouting network is a lot bigger than people understand. That maybe not particularly Celtic, but obviously you've got ex-players, the likes of Moravchik, who are reporting back to the club. The thing that we probably lack when you're talking in the higher echelons, your Real Madrids and Man Cities and stuff like that, they're paying people big money on the continent to be looking at players. We've obviously got a focal point as our main 2 or 3 scouts in Scotland who travel about, whether these clubs have probably got 12, 15 guys on planes, buses, trains, all over the world.
Automobiles.
That again is just the absolute levels of European football, unfortunately. That's where we are.
You're right.
The scouting system really nice, but the youth system's something we need to work on a wee bit more.
Yeah, because for me, I don't know where this this Celtic B system goes either. I mean, if that is it Lala, what's his name again? The guy I mean, if he's the best player in the youth system, I'm sorry.
I think he's 18 and 8.
I know, but
Reegan, you're harsh. You're the harshest pundit about these days. By the way, no messing with Reegan anymore. There is no hiding place. Reegan Stevenson is on you.
How you feel, mate?
I love it.
Judge Stevenson there.
So, man, I mean, I'm sorry, but if he's the best guy in the youth system, there's a problem.
I agree with you, Reegan. I don't think it's unfair on your behalf when you're looking at the best that's coming through. This is new now. Our reserves, so the B team is our reserves now. And if you're saying that is this the best that's coming through, then there is a lack in quality. 18-year-old, there's a lot of development in the boy. I can dare say he could be loaned out to an SPFL, a Premier League team, and you watch him shine or watch him progress faster than he would do in a B team. But we're as Celtic fans, we're within our rights to look at the players that are coming through and judge them on the performances that they make on the park. So,
of course,
for what I've seen them, it doesn't look like somebody who's going to come in and light the place up. But as Dale said, he's 18-year-old, so give him a year or two, maybe a loan spell.
You need to judge the guys when they're playing against the big teams. Rocco Vatar, Lau, and whoever else can shine in the B team in the lower league. I could possibly get a game. You know what I mean? If I put the boots on against some of the shite.
I believe that, by the way. I believe that, Dale. I believe that, man.
I was away watching the open goal Brimhill the other week, thinking.
I was just going to ask you that.
I might go and buy a pair of shinnies, man, and get fucking back into it, man, because they were tough.
Was it that bad?
She just before we go.
I'd love to see it.
Terrible,
she just before we go was Paul Slane any good? Because he was.
It wasn't even stripped, Reegan. It wasn't stripped, mate. It was just.
That's a publicity stunt, isn't it?
Because I did.
With that stupid fucking haircut, man.
Did any of you guys watch the documentary that he done?
I really enjoyed that.
Oh,
really enjoyed it, mate.
It was really good, but I just don't think you'll get much playing time this year.
Nah, the documentary was good, mate. It showed
I enjoyed that.
Other than the character he kind of portrays on open goal, it showed him as a real person and how bad.
I need to watch that, mate. I've not seen that.
I never realised how bad the boys' injuries really were and how mentally it affected them and that. So, it's a fantastic documentary.
I enjoyed it as well.
I need to watch that. Actually, I need to find out where that is. I need to watch that.
Don't be watching it at 7 o'clock tonight, but because I'm on for my debut.
Yes,
what you want about that, mate? That's on my reminder list.
I'm looking forward to it.
Tell us a bit about it, Dale. What is happening tonight, mate?
What's happening?
As quite a lot of the guys on here used to listen to my podcast, the Celtic Supporters podcast, that I started a few years ago interviewing the Celtic supporters clubs and that, and then moved on to my Celtic story. Bhoycie's been on the show. I've had Alan Thompson, Tommy Sheridan, ex-football players, and just more or less speaking about your journey as a fan. Get a wee bit to know the contributors on the bus a wee bit more personally, where they grew up, when they started supporting Celtic, trips abroad, stuff like that. So, debut tonight with the Nostalgia Man, Mr. Phil McGinley, at 7 p.m, because I start work at 9:30, and this could possibly go on to 9:30. So, I really looking forward to it. Really happy that Bhoycie and the bus have welcomed me here. I'm buzzing to get started. This is the first one, so really looking forward to it. I don't think we could have a better start than Phil. No offence to him.
No, you're right, mate.
No,
I've only listened to him online and spoke to him yesterday.
That'll be good, mate.
seems very interesting, and it seems his story's going to be a cracker. So 7 p.m. tonight, Bhoycie bus, my Celtic story with Phil McGinley. Can't wait,
Huge.
man. So tune in,
That'll be
guys.
class.
It's
That'll
huge.
be class, Dale.
Aye, and I'm absolutely thrilled, mate, that you're doing it on the channel. Honestly, it's a buzz, mate. It'll be brilliant tonight. Really look forward to it, mate. Cheers.
Aye, not a problem.
Okay, guys. Well, it's been great to have you on. Finally, I just want to ask Mark, have you sorted your Sunday show yet, Mark? With your Celtic nostalgia.
Celtic history.
Celtic history. Aye.
Well, I'm trying to negotiate with the government to get an extra hour into the day so I can do a full show, because I think I need it for the amount of shite I talk. Once we get that sorted, there'll be a 2 hour, 3 hour long session. CAIRNEY's the judge.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you, and make sure to tune in at 7 p.m. with Dale and Phil McGinley.
Yes, mate. See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.